At approximately 10:15 p.m. on Saturday night, inside an apartment at the Camden Vantage complex in the Old Fourth Ward area of Atlanta, what was meant to be an ordinary family gathering suddenly took a serious turn. As the residential building remained wrapped in its usual calm, a violent sound shattered the silence. Ava Phillips, just 7 years old, was drawn into an incident beyond anyone's control.
Right now, we're following two stories involving gun violence against children,
marking the moment when the sense of safety within the entire community was broken in the blink of an eye. Ava Phillips was a 7-year-old girl living in the city of Atlanta, Georgia, United States, and within her family. She was always spoken of as the center of everyday life. Ava had a distinct personality, confident and firm in expressing her opinions despite her young age. Her father, Jonathan Phillips, often described Ava as the one who ran the household, because she always knew what she wanted and never hesitated to make that clear to everyone around her. In the memories Jonathan shared, Ava always wanted to sit in the front seat during car rides and at restaurants. She was usually the first to place her order with a level of certainty rarely seen in a child. These seemingly ordinary details reflected Ava's special role within the family, as she was not only Jonathan's daughter, but also the thread that held everyone together, bringing energy, warmth, and rhythm to their daily lives.
She liked the window seat on a plane. She liked the front seat of the car. She liked to order first in the restaurant. And, that's my baby, man. It's my little girl, man. She was the boss, man.
The most striking aspect of Ava Phillips's story was the close bond she shared with her father, Jonathan Phillips, a connection built through everyday moments rather than major milestones alone. Jonathan always gave special care and attention to his daughter, and saw Ava not only as his child, but as his daily companion, a source of pride and motivation in his life. That bond was reflected in simple moments, such as taking Ava to school, playing with her at home, or sharing conversations about the future together. It was precisely these seemingly small details that formed a lasting relationship, revealing the closeness and trust between father and daughter, a kind of connection that can only grow through constant presence and shared time between a father and his child.
Ava was, man, everything I ever wanted in a little girl, man.
A powerful daddy-daughter bond shattered by careless gunfire.
It's a tough one, man.
Jonathan Phillips says his 7-year-old daughter, Ava, was his world.
Looked just like me, man, full of life, man. She's the youngest, but she called all the shots.
But Saturday night, his world changed forever. Ava was shot in the head and killed while spending time with her mother. The child caught in crossfire at Camden Vantage Apartments in Old Fourth Ward.
Love your children. You never know when the last time you're going to see them. Mine was supposed to be gone for the weekend, man, Here we are.
On a weekend in August 2022, Ava's father, Jonathan Phillips, brought the children to stay with their mother, Kamika Springfield. Following the family's usual schedule, everything unfolded as it had many times before, with no sign that this evening would be any different or out of the ordinary. Jonathan said goodbye to his children with familiar gestures, believing this was simply a normal weekend visit and that life would soon return to routine. When Ava waved goodbye, the moment carried no sense of foreboding or concern, only the comfort of a habit repeated countless times. Yet it was that very familiarity that became the final boundary, because what happened afterward would alter the rhythm of this family's life in ways no one could have anticipated. Inside the Camden Vantage apartment in the Old Fourth Ward area of Atlanta, during a family gathering, Ava's mother, Kamika Springfield, and her boyfriend, Deshaun Collins, were both present. The atmosphere initially followed the familiar pattern of a family get-together, but underlying tensions among those involved gradually began to surface over time. Disagreements within families are not uncommon, yet the developments that night went far beyond ordinary limits. The mood shifted from calm to tense as an argument began. At first regarded as nothing more than a minor conflict. As time passed, voices grew louder. The confrontation became more heated. And by approximately 10:15 p.m., shouting echoed throughout the apartment as each person tried to overpower the other. The situation quickly spiraled out of control, and a sudden violent sound rang out, completely shattering the atmosphere inside the apartment and marking the moment when the family gathering turned into a serious incident that no one could have foreseen. The Camden Vantage apartment complex, long regarded as a peaceful living space within Atlanta's Old Fourth Ward, quickly descended into chaos when neighbors going about their evening routines suddenly heard shouting coming from inside the building, followed by a violent sound that left many shaken. Some residents could only stand frozen at their windows in disbelief, while others immediately contacted 911 to report what they had heard. That single sound echoed through the walls, carrying with it severe consequences that would completely alter the lives of those involved. Not long afterward, law enforcement arrived at the scene, and the complex was swiftly secured to control the situation. Inside, family members were left in shock, while neighbors gathered in confusion, struggling to understand what had just occurred. Despite the immediate response, the serious events of that night could not be undone, and what began as an ordinary family gathering ended with the loss of Ava Phillips.
Atlanta police say they were called to the Camden Vantage apartments on Jackson Street near the Jackson Street Bridge. Atlanta police saying this all stemming from some kind of a domestic incident which escalated. That's when the gunfire broke out, with one bullet then striking Ava in the head, killing her. Today we talked with some of those who live in the complex, and one woman described to us the sounds that she heard.
You just heard chaos. You heard like screaming. It was like multiple people screaming. You heard dogs barking, and we just kind of stopped and was like, Like, it wasn't just like family that's like laughing and screaming together at something. It was like a literal like trauma scream.
At last check, APD says it is still looking for the suspect in Ava's murder.
Just a few hours after the serious incident involving Ava, law enforcement began reconstructing the full sequence of events that led to what happened inside the Camden Vantage apartment. In the early stage of the investigation, 2 individuals were quickly identified as being directly connected to the family setting that night: Deshaun Collins and Kamika Springfield. Both were present at the location where the incident occurred and had close ties to Ava's family, leading investigators to focus on clarifying each person's specific role in what unfolded. As the verification process continued, authorities determined that the connection between these individuals and Ava was not merely indirect, but a central element that required careful analysis in order to fully understand the context and the cause of the especially serious outcome that night. That very night, following the incident at the Camden Vantage apartment, Ava's mother, Kamika Springfield, was taken into custody by law enforcement for investigative purposes. According to preliminary information released by authorities, evidence collected at the scene led to Kamika facing charges connected to causing serious harm and the control of a dangerous object within the context of the incident. The news quickly sent shockwaves through the public, particularly after Kamika was identified as Ava's primary guardian at the time. For the community, the fact that a mother was linked to an event that ended her daughter's life raised many unanswered questions about what truly unfolded inside the apartment that night and what factors led to such an especially severe outcome.
Tonight, we're getting a first look at the man Atlanta police are searching for in the death of a 7-year-old girl. This is an old mugshot for 23-year-old Deshaun Collins. He's wanted for murder, cruelty to children, aggravated assault, and a weapons charge. He's one of the 2 suspects charged in the death of 7-year-old Ava Phillips. Ava's mother, 44-year-old Kamika Springfield, is already in custody. She's charged with aggravated assault and a weapons charge.
The other individual identified by law enforcement during the investigation was Deshaun Collins, Kamika Springfield's boyfriend, who was present during the incident at the Camden Vantage apartment. Through initial verification, authorities determined that Collins was not merely a witness, but had a direct role connected to the serious developments that night. As the investigation moved forward, police began searching for Collins. However, he had already left the area and was no longer at his residence. Collins's absence heightened the urgency of the search and shifted investigative focus toward clarifying his specific role in the incident that led to the particularly severe outcome for Ava. At that time, many details remained unresolved, and authorities continued gathering evidence to accurately determine the responsibility of each individual involved.
New developments in the shooting death of a 7-year-old girl. Atlanta police just identifying suspects in the case. Let's get straight to 11 Alive's Tracy and Mick Peer live now from Atlanta with the very latest.
Well, right now, police are still looking for 23-year-old Deshaun Collins. He's wanted for a number of charges, including murder, aggravated assault, and cruelty to children. Meanwhile, they have arrested another suspect in this case. She is 44-year-old Kamika Springfield. She's been arrested for aggravated assault and possession of a firearm and the commission of a felony. Now, both are suspects in the shooting death of 7-year-old Ava Phillips, who was shot in the head during a family gathering at the Camden Vantage Apartments at around 10:20 on Saturday night. We talked to residents today who tell us many of them do not feel safe enough to stay here anymore.
There's been a lot of communication from a lot of the residents that want to leave early.
I'm a lawyer. I don't think I could break the lease. I can have a cause for it off of an issue at another apartment. So I think I'm just stuck with the lease.
Now, police are still looking for Deshaun Collins, so if you have any information or know where Collins is, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers or Atlanta Police.
The impact of the serious incident at the Camden Vantage apartment extended beyond Ava's family and spread throughout the surrounding area. The normally quiet neighborhood in Atlanta's Old Fourth Ward quickly fell into a state of unease, as many residents reported hearing unusual sounds during the night and witnessing the emergency response that followed. The heavy presence of law enforcement and the implementation of security measures left a lasting impression, prompting many to realize that the familiar sense of safety in their living environment had been shattered. The event unfolded too suddenly and too close to home, leading numerous residents to begin asking serious questions about security and their own safety in a place that had long been considered a haven. After the incident at Camden Vantage, a sense of anxiety quickly spread throughout the residential community, as many people began questioning whether similar situations could happen again in the future. A space that once felt safe grew heavy, and familiar neighborly relationships became overshadowed by caution and heightened alertness. Conversations among residents increasingly centered on security concerns, and some even considered leaving earlier than planned because they could not shake the lingering feeling of unease. The serious incident that night shook the foundation of safety the apartment complex had once provided, causing Camden Vantage to no longer be seen as a true home. For many residents there, as well as in other parts of Atlanta, questions about everyday safety became more present than ever, as unexpected events can occur without warning and familiar living spaces can change in an instant.
Right now, we're following 2 stories involving gun violence against children. The man convicted of killing 7-year-old Kennedy Maxey in 2020 receiving a life sentence today. And 7-year-old Ava Phillips was shot in the head over the weekend when a domestic incident escalated into gunfire. And tonight, Atlanta police are still searching for the one suspect in the shooting of Ava Phillips.
It happened in the Old Fourth Ward area on Saturday night. Tonight, Tracy A. McPierce spoke to people who live in that neighborhood who say they no longer feel safe.
It's kind of unimaginable.
Hari Narayanan lives at Camden Vantage Apartments on Jackson Street, where 7-year-old Ava Phillips was shot and killed on Saturday night.
Just the level of grief you just go on a Saturday night, you'd think you're spending time with family, and something like that happens.
And Narayanan says in the wake of the violence, he wants to move.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I can.
And he's not the only one.
There's been a lot of communication from a lot of the residents that want to leave early.
James Goodson says until they can leave, they are living in fear.
This used to be a safe community, but right now it is not.
Kamika Springfield faced serious charges that drew intense public attention, as she was denied bail and remained in custody while awaiting further legal proceedings. At that time, the case was still moving through the judicial process, with many key details yet to be fully clarified. Meanwhile, Deshaun Collins had not appeared before authorities, creating additional obstacles in determining the responsibility of those involved. Ava Phillips's family was reported to be focused not on extreme reactions or public confrontation, but on uncovering the truth behind the event that took away the young girl's future. The court's early decisions reflected the severity of the case and the evidence already collected, while also indicating that the investigation remained ongoing as authorities continued to examine more deeply what had taken place inside the Camden Vantage apartment that night.
Right, and police announced that they did make an arrest in connection with that shooting this morning. Police also told us they're looking for a 23-year-old suspect in the shooting. As for the 44-year-old suspect, I'm told she is inside the Fulton County Jail right now, about to go before a judge. First, I want you to take a look at this mugshot that we received this morning. This is, according to police, 44-year-old Kamika Springfield. She is now charged with aggravated assault in connection with the shooting death of 7-year-old Ava Phillips. Police say someone shot the girl during an argument at a family gathering this weekend. That argument happened at the Camden Vantage Apartments on Jackson Street in downtown Atlanta. We spoke with the girl's father. He was not at the gathering, but he says he just wants justice for his baby girl, who he says was just a kind and very sweet person. Now, we are still working to figure out if either of the suspects are in any way connected, in any way related to that little girl. Again, Kamika Springfield is about to go before a judge here inside of Fulton County Jail. As for that other suspect, police identified him as 23-year-old Deshaun Collins. That person is still on the loose at this hour.
A prayer vigil in memory of Ava Phillips was held, bringing together family members, friends, and many local residents. The gathering took place as the community was still struggling to process what had happened, while also serving as a moment of unity and shared support among those present. Attendees stood side by side in a solemn setting, focusing their thoughts on the memory of a young girl once seen as having a future full of promise, but who was no longer there. The atmosphere of the vigil clearly reflected the far-reaching impact of the incident, as this loss affected not only Ava's family, but also left a lasting mark on the community where she had lived.
Yeah, that's right. And it's been 3 days and no one's seen the suspect, Deshaun Collins. But for a couple of hours, the family tried to put that thought out of their heads as they celebrated Ava. A sea of pink, purple, and unicorns, a fitting tribute for a little princess.
She liked to be prissy at times, and she was definitely the boss of her brothers. She has a beautiful smile, a beautiful girl, beautiful smile, beautiful life.
A beautiful life ended too early. 7-year-old Ava Phillips shot and killed during a gathering at Camden Village Apartments. Her own mother arrested, suspected of assaulting Deshaun Collins with a gun. Collins suspected of firing the gun that cut Ava's chance at a life short. What started it? an argument.
Think before you pull a gun out. I'd rather see you fight than pull out a gun, and especially you're shooting, you're not shooting at the person intended, but you're still hurting something or someone.
Now there's another gathering outside Camden Village. Property managers asked us to stay back, but it didn't stop our cameras from picking up the cries of anger over how this child's life ended. And Ava's dad, Jonathan, emotional, thinking of how senseless it all is.
Stop the senseless violence, man, you know. Like, my baby died over some crazy stuff, man, like crazy that really could have been avoided.
There will be no driver's test, no first car, first dance, no graduation. But Ava's short life was full of doing everything she wanted while it lasted.
She liked the window seat on a plane. She liked the front seat of the car. She liked to order first in the restaurant. And, you know, that's my baby, man. It's my little girl, man. She was the boss, man.
A boss who ran the show. And while she may not be here anymore, her loved ones will always know she was the star in their lives.
And purple balloons were released into the sky as a form of remembrance for Ava Phillips, reflecting the colors and preferences her family and friends often associated with her. In the aftermath of the incident, the local community came together not only to honor her memory, but also to express a collective desire to put an end to the dangerous behaviors that led to such a particularly severe outcome. The atmosphere at the memorial underscored the profound impact of the case, as many attendees continued to carry unanswered questions about its causes and how similar situations might be prevented in the future. Ava's passing gradually came to be seen as a marker of a broader issue present in the urban life of Atlanta, where incidents involving dangerous objects have increasingly occurred closer to family living spaces, posing a serious challenge to the community's sense of safety.
During this exchange of gunfire, that's where our victim was hit.
This is why I walk around the property when I walk my dog with a gun.
And the same apartment complex was the site of a double stabbing in November. Now tonight, police, they are not releasing the name of the suspect or any persons of interest. This is very much an ongoing investigation as they're trying to track down the gunman. They are imploring anyone who was at that party or any family members who knew of this situation to come forward.
Ava Phillips's case was not the only incident that forced the Atlanta community to confront the serious consequences of dangerous behavior affecting children. Prior to this, public attention had focused on a similar case involving Kennedy Maxey, also 7 years old, who was identified as having been drawn into a particularly serious incident within an urban living context. The fact that both cases occurred in the same city and involved victims of similar age raised widespread concern about the level of safety for children within the community. These incidents came to be viewed as signs of a broader, systemic issue, as dangerous situations increasingly impacted the youngest and most vulnerable individuals, creating an urgent need to re-examine protective measures and prevention efforts within shared living spaces across Atlanta.
Right now, we're following two stories involving gun violence against children. The man convicted of killing 7-year-old Kennedy Maxey in 2020 receiving a life sentence today. And 7-year-old Ava Phillips was shot in the head over the weekend when a domestic incident escalated into gunfire. And tonight, Atlanta police are still searching for the one suspect in the shooting of Ava Phillips.
It happened in the Old Fourth Ward area on Saturday night. Tonight, Tracy A. McPeer spoke to people who live in that neighborhood who say they no longer feel safe.
This story does not revolve solely around Ava Phillips, but also reflects a broader reality emerging in Atlanta, where many families have begun questioning the level of safety within their own familiar living spaces. What happened to Ava has gradually come to be seen as a manifestation of a systemic issue, extending beyond a single family or a specific residential area. These are no longer dry statistics or brief news headlines, but consequences that directly affect real people, real families, and real communities. As residents increasingly realize that even children can be drawn into unpredictable and dangerous situations. a shared sense of unease has begun to take shape and spread throughout the city's everyday life.
It broke my heart to watch.
A visibly frustrated Fonnie Willis spoke about the death of 7-year-old Ava Phillips Monday morning.
Another precious life stolen.
The Fulton County District Attorney said the shooting was senseless and stemmed from a domestic dispute.
We have too many guns in the wrong hands and too much freedom to get guns.
Following the incident involving Ava Phillips, the Atlanta community showed its support for her family through various means. Ava's relatives established an online fundraising campaign to help cover memorial expenses and other needs that arose afterward. And within a short period of time, donations surpassed $10,000. This effort reflected the broad level of concern from people who had no direct connection to the family, but were deeply affected by Ava's story. The fundraising was not only a form of financial assistance, but also a gesture of solidarity, demonstrating that Ava was seen as an individual who mattered and that what happened to her was not regarded as an isolated event. These responses revealed a community seeking connection, shared understanding, and meaningful change in hopes of preventing similar situations in the future. While the legal process continued, Ava's family remained focused on fully clarifying what had happened, with the goal of identifying the causes and the responsibility of those involved. Their efforts were not limited to locating an individual who was being sought, but centered on ensuring that everything that occurred was thoroughly examined and not overlooked within the justice system. At the same time, the Atlanta community gradually attempted to return to everyday life, even as the impact of the incident remained clearly present in shared spaces. Ava's absence left a void that was difficult to fill, and the consequences of this tragedy continued to be felt across many families and neighborhoods throughout the city. The incident involving Ava Phillips continued to leave a clear and lasting echo in the life of the city of Atlanta, as her story came to be seen as a stark example of the risks present within urban living environments. Ava's case highlighted the urgent need to seriously reconsider measures that ensure the safety of children and families, especially as dangerous incidents continue to occur on a daily basis. The process of uncovering the truth and determining legal responsibility had not yet reached its conclusion. While efforts to create safer living spaces for the community remained an ongoing priority, Ava's story has come to be remembered not only as a personal loss, but also as a defining moment underscoring the necessity of change to prevent similar consequences in the future. In the event that anyone has information that could assist in fully clarifying what happened, the public is urged to cooperate with law enforcement. Any detail, no matter how small, may play a critical role in completing the investigative picture, helping to bring the necessary sense of closure to Ava Phillips's family and ensuring that her passing is not left in silence. Those with information are encouraged to contact Crime Stoppers Atlanta at 404-577-ALT-477 or submit information confidentially through the organization's official platform. Dangerous acts involving harmful objects, similar to the incident described, are increasingly being recognized as a serious issue in many cities across the United States, with far-reaching impacts on family and community life. According to published statistics, tens of thousands of people are seriously affected each year by incidents involving dangerous objects, with children becoming an increasingly vulnerable group. In reality, thousands of children under 18 are drawn into situations each year that cause severe harm to their physical well-being and future. These figures are not merely statistics, but representations of lives, families, and communities that have been permanently changed. In light of this reality, Examining and addressing the root causes of community safety has become an urgent priority, with the goal of reducing risk and ensuring that similar situations do not continue to occur in the future, while emphasizing the shared responsibility of society in building a safer living environment for everyone. As we close the story of Ava Phillips, this case leaves behind many lessons worth reflecting on regarding safety within families and communities, as well as the long-term consequences that can arise when conflicts spiral beyond control. This is not merely an ongoing legal case, but a reminder of our shared responsibility to protect children and preserve a safe living environment for everyone. Thank you for taking the time to follow today's story with the channel. If you have your own thoughts or feelings, please leave a comment as a way of remembering Ava and what she left behind. If you found this content meaningful, don't forget to share the video so the story can reach a wider audience, and subscribe to the channel and hit like to continue accompanying us in future episodes of True Crime Documentary. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again in the stories to come.